Today, we travel back in time to 2021. We've just concluded our Iceland trip and are spending an extended weekend in Door County, Wisconsin. On the TV is an Anthony Bourdain marathon, providing some travel inspiration.
Oh, hey Bethany, it's the Azores episode. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Bethany?
At the start of this trip in April 2022, we drove around 3 hours from northeast Wisconsin to Chicago early in the morning. We had lunch with friends at Fogo de Chao, a Brazilian steakhouse, where we deliberated the sourcing of their Chilean sea bass before flying out of O'Hare to Lisbon. There was difficulty getting to the long-term parking, and after reviewing maps, I can't even see how we got to the wrong parking lot to begin with. Magic. But once we were parked, I managed to forget my camera's external microphone and hopped on the shuttle bus. Then there is security. Chicago O'Hare sucks at moving people from the non-secure side of the airport to the secure side of the house. Main bit of advice here is just get yourself there early with plenty of time to stand in line for security, as they give more space for paid security processing options than the included in the cost security processing. There's nothing like watching half of the space empty with the occasional person who paid for the security processing, a quarter of the space filled with unused equipment for the paid processing, and the last quarter of space for hundreds, if not thousands of us not willing to pay for security processing on top of the cost of travel and the equipment to process us. Not to mention the cries of people begging to be let ahead because their flight is currently boarding. It's hot, it's horrible, and it's a disservice to passengers being processed. After the hell of security processing was our first flight with TAP Air Portugal, and an 11-hour flight from O'Hare to Lisbon. Things seemed to be going well enough, but when the doors were closed and locked, they finally chose to tell us the in-flight entertainment was busted and the screens on the back of the seats would only display their screensavers. Not impactful to our travel time, but quite a blow to the level of comfort. So cue one of the longest flights I've had in a while. Not because it was truly the longest, but because we only had the games on our phones that didn't require the internet, audio downloaded to our phones, and a book I brought for entertainment. I much prefer wasting the hours away watching 5 movies and promptly forgetting about them just as soon as I step off the plane. Lisbon's Humberto Delgado Airport is fine. We got a little confused with where to go along with some other passengers, but it was easy to recover from and get back on track. While there are many places to shop in the airport, I'd recommend waiting for your destination instead to save a bit of money.
Charming as always.
Food though, have at it. Again, it's a little expensive because it's an airport, but it was some of the best airport food I've had outside of Japan. We had a few hours to waste here, and I saw an ad for a punk band performing in Lisbon far too many times. I can't find my notes, so I can't say the name of the band, but oh my god, I never want to see that video again. The airport is growing fast, and due to its growth, we had to be bused to an aircraft parking lot where we loaded onto the plane for São Miguel. During takeoff, we got some good views of the Lisbon area before heading out over the ocean. Around 2 hours later, the island appeared. Luckily, my guess to pick the right side of the plane paid off for great views. As soon as you step off the plane, you can smell a mix of flowers, ocean breeze, and jet fuel. Aeroporto João Paulo II is a small, to-the-point airport, and we had no problems processing in or out through it. We rented a car from Azores Easy Rent, as it was recommended to us by one of our Airbnb hosts. While other car rental companies are bigger and have full-time presence near the airport, Easy Rent will have their pickup in parking lot 6. So there is a bit of a walk comparatively, but it's worth it. Once that was out of the way, it was time to drive across the island to our first lodgings in the little village Ribeira Quente, or Hot River in English. To get there, we crossed over to the north side of the island and followed the winding highway to Furnish, and passed through a tight little valley with a short tunnel to the village. We arrived in the dark and were greeted by staff from our Airbnb. The night in Ribeira Quente was also filled with song as people celebrating Freedom Day sung late into the night at a nearby snack bar. We were tired from a full day's worth of traveling, but couldn't resist the sounds of the ocean and wonder what it actually looked like out there during the day. That time would come soon enough. Next time, we discover the little paradise where we are staying and make a night trip into Furnish for a dip in some hot springs. Come back next time for more São Miguel Azores 2022.